The poem of the man God, the second year of the public life. Chapter 243. John repeats the speech made by Jesus on Mount Tabor. 5th of August, 1945. They are all climbing the cool, short cuts leading to Nazareth. The Galilean hillsides seem to have been created that very morning, because the recent storm has washed them so thoroughly, and the dew keeps them shiny and fresh, so that they are all bright in the early sunshine. The air is so clear that all the details of the more or less distant mountains are visible, and there is a deep sensation of freshness and liveliness. When they reach the top of a hill, they delight in admiring the sight of a lake, which is most beautiful in the pure morning light. They all admire it, as does Jesus. But Mary Magdalene soon turns her eyes in a different direction, looking for something. Her eyes rest on the mountain tops lying northwest, but she does not seem to find what she is looking for. Susanna, who is beside her, asks, "What are you looking for?" "I would like to recognize the mountain where I met the Master." "Ask him." "Oh, it's not worth disturbing him. He is speaking to Judas of Kerioth." "What a man Judas is," whispers Susanna. She does not say anything else, but the rest is clearly understood. "That mountain is certainly not along this road, but I will take you there some time, Martha. It was dawn, just like now, and there were so many flowers, and so many people." "Oh, Martha, and I had the audacity to appear in front of everybody in that shameful dress and with those friends." "No, you cannot be offended at Judas's words. I deserved them. I deserved every one of them. And the present suffering is my expiation. Everybody remembers, and everybody is right in telling me the truth, and I must be silent. Oh, if one only pondered before sinning. Who offends me now is my best friend, because he helps me to expiate." "But that does not mean that he has not done wrong. Mother, is your son really pleased with that man?" "We must pray very much for him," so he says. John leaves the apostles to come and help the women at a difficult passage, where their sandals slip as the path is strewn with smooth stones, like reddish slates, and with glossy hard grass, which is very dangerous as the foot has no grip on it. The zealot imitates John, and the women pass over the difficult spot, leaning on them. "This is rather a difficult road, but there is no dust and no travellers on it, and it is shorter," says the zealot. "I know it, Simon," says Mary. "I came to that little village halfway up the hill with my nephews when Jesus was driven out of Nazareth," says the Blessed Virgin with a sigh. "But the world is beautiful from here. There is the Tabor over there, and the Hermon, and to the north the mountains of Arbela, and over there, in the back, the great Hermon. It is a pity that the sea is not visible as it is from Tabor," says John. "Have you been there?" "Yes, with the Master." "John, through his love for the infinite, obtained a great joy for us, because on the top of the mountain, Jesus spoke of God so ecstatically that we had never heard the like before. And after receiving so much, we obtained a great conversion. You will meet the man too, Mary. and your spirit will be fortified more than it already is. We found a man hardened with hatred, brutalized by remorse, and Jesus turned him into a man who I am sure will become a great disciple, like you, Mary, because you can be sure that what I tell you is the truth. We sinners are more yielding to good, which envelops us, because we feel the need to be forgiven, even by ourselves, says the zealot. That is true, but it is very kind of you to say we sinners. You are a poor wretch, not a sinner. We are all sinners, some more, some less. And he who thinks he is less a sinner is the most likely to become one, if he is not already so. We are all sinners, but the big sinners who repent are the ones who know how to be as absolute in good as they were in evil. Your comforting words are a great relief to me. You have always been a father to the children of the Theophilus. And like a father, I rejoice because the three of you are Jesus' friends. Where did you find that disciple who was a big sinner? At Endor, Mary. Simon wishes to ascribe the merit of so many beautiful things to my desire to contemplate the sea. But if John the Elder came to Jesus, it is no merit of the silly young John. It is the merit of Judas of Simon, says Zebedee's son, smiling. Did he convert him? Asks Martha doubtfully. No, but he wanted to go to Endor and... Yes, to see the cave of the sorceress. Judas of Simon is a very strange type. One must take him as he is. Of course. And John of Endor led us to the cave and then remained with us. But my dear son, the merit is still yours, because without your desire for the infinite, we would not have gone that way, and Judas would not have desired to go on that strange research. I would like to know what Jesus said on Mount Tabor, as I would like to recognize the mountain where I saw him, sighs Mary Magdalene. The mountain is the one where the sun seems to be rising, because of the sparkling of a pond there, which collects the spring water, and herds make use of it. We are farther up, where the top seems to be split like a huge two-pronged fork, attempting to pierce the clouds and take them somewhere else. With regard to Jesus' speech, I think John can repeat it for you. Oh, Simon, is it possible for a boy to repeat the words of God? No, it isn't for a boy. It is for you, to please your sisters and me, as I love you. John blushes very much when he begins to repeat the speech of Jesus. He said, here is the infinite page on which currents write the word. I believe. Think of the chaos of the universe before the Creator decided to order the elements and arrange them into a wonderful association, which has given man the earth and what it contains, and has adorned the firmament with stars and planets. Nothing existed, neither as amorphous chaos, nor as ordered system. God made it. First, he made the elements, because they are necessary, although at times they seem to be harmful. But always remember this: there is no small drop of dew, no matter how small it be, which does not have a good reason for existing. There is no insect, however small and insignificant it may be, which does not have its good reason for being. And likewise, there is no monstrous mountain vomiting from its bowels fire and incandescent lapilli, which does not have its good reason for existing. And there is no cyclone without a reason. And passing from things to people, there is no event, no tear, no joy, no birth, death, no sterility and prolific maternity, no long marriage life or early widowhood, no misfortune of calamities and diseases, or prosperity of wealth and health, which does not have its good reason for being, even if it does not appear as such to the short-sightedness and pride of men, who see and judge through the cataracts and fogs typical of imperfect beings. But the eye of God, the infinite thought of God, sees and knows. The secret of living free from sterile doubts, which irritate, exhaust, and poison the days on the earth, is to believe that God does everything for a good, intelligent reason, that God does what he does for love, not for the stolid intention of tormenting for the sake of tormenting. God had created the angels, and some of them who did not want to believe that the level of glory at which they had been placed was good, rebelled, and with their minds parched by lack of faith in their Lord, they attempted to assail the unreachable throne of God. They opposed their discordant, unjust, pessimistic thoughts to the harmonious reasons of the faithful angels. And pessimism, which is lack of faith, changed them from spirits of light into spirits of darkness. Blessed are those forever who both in heaven and on the earth base all their thoughts on a presupposition of fully enlightened optimism. They will not be wrong, at least as far as their spirits are concerned, as they will continue to believe, hope, and above all, love God and their neighbour, and will thus remain in God until the end of centuries. Paradise had already been freed from those proud pessimists who saw gloomy sides also in the brightest words of God, as the pessimists on the earth look on dark sides also of the clearest deeds of men. And by wishing to be separated in an ivory tower, as they consider themselves the only perfect ones, they condemn themselves to a dark dungeon, which ends in the darkness of the kingdom of hell, the kingdom of negation, because pessimism is negation as well. So God created the universe, and as to understand the glorious mystery of our being, one and trine, one must believe and understand that the Word existed from the beginning and was with God, joined by the most perfect love, which can be effused only by two who are gods, being, however, only one. So, to see creation as it is necessary to look at it with eyes of faith, because in its being, as a son bears the indelible reflection of his father, so creation has within itself the indelible reflection of its creator. We shall then see that in the beginning there was the sky and the earth, and then light, which can be compared to love, because light is delight, as love is, and light is the atmosphere of paradise. And the incorporeal being, who is God, is light, and is the father of every intellectual, affective, material, spiritual light, both in heaven and on the earth. In the beginning there was the sky and the earth, and for them light was given, and through light everything else was made. And as in the most high heaven, the spirits of light were separated from those of darkness, so in creation light was separated from darkness, and day and night were made. And that was the first day of creation, with its morning and its evening, its midday and midnight. And when the smile of God, that is light, came once again after night, then the hand of God, his powerful will, stretched out over the shapeless empty earth, and over the sky where the waters wandered, one of the free elements in chaos, and wanted the firmament to separate the disorderly wandering of the waters between the sky and the earth, so that it would be a velarium for paradisiac splendor, a limit to superior waters, and thus floods would not descend upon boiling metals and atoms, washing away and disjointing what God was uniting. Order was restored in the sky, and there was order on the earth through the command given by God to the waters spread over the earth. And the sea began to exist. There it is. On it, as on the firmament, it is written, God is. Whatever the intellectuality of man is, or his faith or disbelief, in front of this page, in which a particle of infinity, which is God, shines, and in which there is the evidence of his power, man is obliged to believe, because no human power and no natural settlement of elements can possibly repeat such a wonder, not even in a very small way. Man is obliged to believe not only in the Lord's power, but also in his goodness, as through that sea he gives food and ways of communication to man. He gives wholesome salts, he mitigates the heat of the sun, and gives space to winds, and seed to lands remote from one another, and causes it to roar like storms to call the ant, man, to the infinite one, his Father. And he gives man the possibility of elevating himself to higher spheres, contemplating higher visions. Three things speak most of God in creation, which is entirely a witness of his power: the light, the firmament, and the sea. The astral and meteorological order, which is a reflection of the divine order. The light, which only a God could create. The sea, the power, which only God could confine within firm limits after creating it. And he gave it motion and voice without, however damaging, as a turbulent, disorderly element, the earth, which bears the sea on its surface. Ponder on the mystery of light, which is inexhaustible. Raise your eyes towards the firmament, where stars and planets are resplendent. Look at the sea and consider it for what it is. It is not a separation but a bridge between peoples who live on other shores, and although they cannot be seen and are unknown, one must believe that they exist, simply because the sea exists. God does not make anything useless. He, therefore, would not have created the seemingly infinite sea, unless it were limited by other lands beyond the horizon, which prevents us from seeing. Lands which are populated with other men, who have all come from one only God, and by God's will have been carried there by storms and currents, to people, continents, and regions. And the sea sends remote appeals through its waves, through the voice of its waves and its tides. It is a link, not a separation. The anxiety which causes John a sweet anguish is the appeal of remote brothers. The more the spirit dominates the flesh, the more capable it is of hearing the voices of spirits that are united, even if they are divided, like branches that spring up from the same root, are united, even if one cannot see the other, if an obstacle is interposed between them. Look at the sea with eyes full of light. You will see lands strewn round its shores, at its limits, and other lands inside it, and a cry will reach you from every one of them. Come, bring us the light that you possess. Bring us the life given to you. Speak to our hearts the word with which we are not acquainted, but we know is the foundation of the universe. Love. Teach us to read the word that we see written on the infinite pages of the firmament and of the sea. God, enlighten us, because we feel that there is a light which is more real than the one which reddens the sky and makes the sea glitter like gems. Bring to our darkness the light that God gave you after generating it through his love. And he gave it to you on behalf of all peoples, as he gave light to the stars so that they might give it to the earth. You are the stars. We are the dust. But form us as the Creator formed the earth with dust, so that man might people it, adoring him now and forever, until the hour comes when there is no earth, but the kingdom comes. The kingdom of light, of love, of peace, as the living God told you it will be, because we are children of this God as well, and we ask to become acquainted with our Father. And learn to go along the ways of infinity without fear and without disdain towards those who call you and weep, towards those who will also grieve you because they feel God but do not know how to adore God. But they will also procure you glory, because the more you possess love and bestow it, leading to the truth, the people who are waiting to reach it, the greater you will be. Jesus said so, but much better than I did. But that was at least his idea.
John, you have repeated exactly what the Master said. You have only omitted what he said about your capability to understand God through your generosity in giving yourself. You are good, John, the best amongst us. We have come to the end of our way without noticing it. There is Nazareth on its hill. The Master is looking at us and smiling. Let us reach him at once to enter the village together.
Thank you, John, says Our Lady. You have given a great present to your mother. I thank you too. You have opened infinite horizons to poor Mary. What were you talking so much about? Jesus asks those who have just joined him.
John has repeated the speech you made on Mount Tabor perfectly, and we were delighted.
I am glad that my mother has heard it, because the sea is related to her name, and her charity is as vast as the sea. Son, you possess such charity as the man, and yet it is nothing as compared to your infinite charity of the divine word, my sweet Jesus. Mother, come near me, as you held me by the hand when we came back from Cana, or from Jerusalem when I was a little boy. And they look at each other with eyes full of love.